Julian Assange is an amazing, brilliant man who has done so much for planet Earth and for anybody who is fighting for or believes in the freedom of the press or the freedom of people to know what their governments are doing, and whether their governments are committing war crimes or hopeless corruption or any number of other things. And because of all the great work that Julian Assange has been doing for most of his adult life, he has been vilified and he has been persecuted in ways that are hard for a person to imagine if you don't understand just how extremely corrupt and dishonest the government of this country is, and the government of the United Kingdom. And I would add, with absolute confidence and horror, the government of Sweden as well. And if you don't know about that, then read The Trial of Julian Assange by Nils Meltzer, who was for years the head person on human rights and torture that the United Nations had. You know, he was the dude. And Julian Assange's lawyers kept on sending him materials. Look, this guy is one of somebody you need to be looking at. And, you know, Nils Meltzer, you know, typical kind of, you know, he's Danish, he's Swedish, Danish-Swedish, and he's looking out for persecution of people in other countries, not England. You know, and England's not really on his radar, you know. And they kept on sending him stuff. He's like, oh, no, I heard about this guy. He's a rapist and whatever other horrible things he's done, you know, supposedly. You know, by his own admission, you know, it took way too long. But finally he got around to reading some of the stuff they were sending him. And then he was just, he went down and started going down a rabbit hole and wrote a great book. But it's you know, so the reality of the situation at this point is, if you want to really understand what is happening, and if you want to really understand the persecution of Julian Assange and all the different nefarious activities that have gone on involving all these different governments, you actually have to read a fairly long book. There's actually no other way, and that is horrifying, you know, because very few people are going to do that. Very few people are going to take the time to read several hundred pages to untangle all this stuff. And but it's and you know, unfortunately, there's so many other people who are in the same kind of situation as Julian Assange, and I'm one of them. And it's not that I'm in prison or being, you know, pursued by the CIA, but you know, you can't do anything in public associated with me unless you sort through a massive deluge of accusations, including, you know, stuff that has been written about me that's like tens of thousands of page, you know, of words, you know, stuff that looks like it was written by AI actually. But it's, you know, it's this kind of stuff that people feel like they have to slog through if they want to definitively decide for themselves, am I really a fascist or an anti-Semite or a transphobe, or whatever other accusations are being thrown around. Those are the three most popular ones these days. But you know, it's the new reality facilitated by social media platforms. This is all algorithms. This is not that the American people are as crazy as they appear to be. This is that they're communicating on these platforms that have completely taken over our ability to relate to each other, and we are now in the Matrix. If you've seen if you haven't seen the movie The Matrix, not the first one, the only one that really matters, the good one. If you haven't seen the first Matrix movie, you got to see it, because we're living in the Matrix. We are there. We are in the pods. The AI has hooked up to our brains, and they're sucking us out, and we think we're relating to each other, but we're not. You know, we are here in this room, but online it's a fantasy. It's not happening. It's not real. Behind these prison walls, there's a man who's won awards for the work that he has done and all that it affords, such as the knowledge of the horrors committed in our name. They can't stop the message, so the messenger gets blamed. Behind these prison walls, in solitary confinement, in a land of rolling hills and royalty and other such refinement, is someone who is a hero to whistleblowers everywhere, who helped them tell the world of the crimes of Tony Blair. Behind these prison walls, you will find a mortal man. The reason why we know what happened in Afghanistan, when the soldiers of the empire, whose sun set long before, were torturing civilians in their terror war. Behind these prison walls is a part of WikiLeaks, an eloquent orator, but you won't hear him speak. Locked away in silence, one who knows too well how those in power act when there's another war to sell. Behind these prison walls is one who stands accused of exactly what offenses the U.S. has refused to say precisely which, or to try to clear the mist, or to explain how he's not the same as other journalists. Behind these prison walls is a person they deprive of most of the things in life that keep us all alive. A person being tortured as we stand here now for revealing the war crimes. Why, when, where, how? Behind these prison walls, our very right to be informed of what the hell is going on is the teacup in this storm. With knowledge there is power, so the solution by the crown, a 24-hour-a-day indefinite lockdown behind these prison walls.